15 months ago, this company, it didn't even exist. It had no revenue, it had no customers, and it had an entire industry telling the founder he had lost his freaking mind. Today, we could sell the company for 30 million plus and walk away. Nothing about the product changed to get there. What changed was a single sentence. The same sentence is quietly costing you customers every single day that you keep saying it. Let me show you what that sentence is, because every person you have ever tried to sell to is standing in two places at once. There is where they are right now, and then there is where they ache to be. Between those two places lies something called a distance. And that distance is the only thing anyone has ever paid for. Not your product, not your service, not your method, the distance. You think you sell software or coaching or surgery or strategy, but you do not. You never have. You sell the passage across the distance. And the moment that you fall in love with the thing instead of the crossing, the market quietly stops listening to you. Watch what people actually buy, not what they tell you they buy. The man buying the Rolex is not buying a way to tell time. He never was. He is buying a way to tell the world what his time is worth. The woman considering a breast augmentation, she's not buying silicone. She is buying confidence, self-worth, and the way that she is seen and desired the moment that she walks into the room. The founder buying sales training is not buying training. He is buying a team operating at its ceiling. No money left on the table, no deal lost to one weak closer, a machine of human capital that turns effort into consistent, predictable revenue. That is what changes hands when money changes hands, not features, futures. Now point that at yourself. When the market looks at you, what does it see? It sees whatever you talk about. And like nearly everyone, you tend to talk about you. Your features, your technology, your process, your method, your team, your years in the field, all the great awards that you've gotten, your certifications, your clever little methods of business, my, our. Every line is quietly about you. You describe the machine in loving detail, and then you sit back and wait to be admired for it. And the market hands you the same silent verdict that it hands everyone who makes it about themselves. And it simply says, so what? Because your ideal customer, they do not care about you. They never did, and they never will. They care about themselves, their problems, their pain, their future that they are chasing. The instant that your marketing becomes about you, you have already lost the game, because no one has ever fallen in love with a mechanism. Whatever you sell, the product, the service, the method, it's just the road that lays across the gap between where your buyer stands and where they ache to be. When you lead with it, you are asking them to admire the engineering of the road instead of the place that the damn road actually carries them. And no one has ever admired a road. When was the last time that you were driving somewhere that you actually wanted to be and you pulled over on the side of the street, crouched down, and ran your hands across the asphalt, studied the color of the tar, the grade of the gravel, the crew who poured it at 4 a.m. in the morning so you could glide over it without a single thought? Never. Not once in your life. You don't even see the road. You see where it's taking you. A road earns its entire existence by disappearing beneath you on the way to something that matters. That is exactly what your buyer does with whatever you sell. Your product, your service, your method. They don't want to admire it. They want it to vanish beneath them on the way to the life that they are chasing. That, by the way, is the sentence I mentioned at the beginning of this video. The sentence that's quietly holding your potential hostage. And it is, here is what we do. Every version of it. Here is our process. Here's our technology. Here's what makes us different. It costs you a buyer the instant that it leaves your mouth, because it answers a question that no one was asking. It talks about you. He was only ever listening for himself. And the reason that you keep saying it is simple. The mechanism is safe. Complexity is a place to hide. Describing your process in detail makes you feel substantial, justified, and worth the money. But that feeling was always for you. It was never for the buyer. And here's what almost no one connects. This is the reason you keep hitting the same ceiling in your business. When growth stalls, you reach for more. More ads, more channels, more tools. But scale is a multiplier. And a multiplier does not care whether the thing it multiplies is brilliant or broken. If the market does not feel the value when you spend $10,000 a month in ads, it's not going to suddenly feel it when you decide to spend $100,000 a month in ads. You do not scale your way out of a message that no one wants. You lose money faster with a prettier dashboard. The ceiling was never the market. It was the clarity of the thing that you have been trying to scale. This is the line between two kinds of business operators. And most people spend their entire career on the wrong side of that line. Because the vendor, he sells parts, a page, some ads, a funnel that looks like motion. He stays busy. He competes on price, and he never quite frankly understands why nothing fundamentally ever changes in his business. But he keeps doing it. The rare one operates at a level of desire. Not what should we build, but what does the person ache for, and what would it mean to finally cross that bridge? Everything he builds flows from that single understanding. So nothing he builds can be commoditized. That is the level that Luxvoni is designed to operate from. We don't sell you assets. We begin where the money actually lives, the distance between your buyer's reality and their desire. And we engineer the entire path across it. The offer, the message, the funnel, the ads, the follow-up, the conversation. One system pointed at one outcome with nothing in it that doesn't earn its place. Now let's be real. Some of you that are watching this right now, you're still on the fence. And Michael was on the same exact fence that you are on from ALIV Worldwide. 15 months ago, ALIV didn't even exist. It was just a founder with an idea and an industry that told him that he was out of his freaking mind. Every insider pointed at the same wall. Men who love motorcycles, they already own one, Michael. It's a saturated market. There's no one left to sell to. And after enough people say it, you start to believe them. And sure as hell, Michael did. He doubted high-achieving men were even on Facebook. He doubted that the offer would ever be able to scale at all. But we didn't, because the industry was not wrong about the riders. It was wrong about the buyer. Everyone was fighting over the same shrinking pool, current riders, while the market sat right beside that. Men who used to ride. Men who loved bikes before they had a career, the family, and the weight of responsibility pulled them away from the one thing that used to make them feel alive. Men who now had money, the status, and the ache, but had lost permission to go back to that. We didn't find that in a strategy deck. We found it on a call with Michael. While Michael was sitting there telling us his story, a decade since he had touched a bike, and he stopped halfway through and said there has to be 1 million guys just like me. Well, there was. That was the market. The man sitting in front of us, doubting whether a single soul would buy this, was the buyer. He just couldn't see it yet. So we did not build ALIV Worldwide around motorcycles. We built it around identity reactivation, adventure, status, brotherhood, permission to return to a part of themselves that they had buried under 20 years of responsibility. The bike was never the product. It was just proof they had done it. Everyone else in the industry sold motorcycles and sold motorcycle tours. We sold men the version of themselves that they missed the most. 15 months later, we now do $1.5 million a month in cash collected. We've done $300,000 in cash in the last 5 days alone. And we could walk away today with the $30 million and sell the company and walk into the beautiful sunset. But none of it came from selling features, details, or specifics about motorcycle tours. Not the route, not the bikes, not the itinerary, not the logistics. All of it came from selling the crossing between their current state and their desire state. From responsible, buried, and disconnected to a part of themselves that they missed the most, to feel finally alive again, to have adventure again, to be respected again, to be surrounded by men who understood them again. And the tour was the road. The adventure was the crossing. The bike was the proof. But the thing that they bought was the man waiting on the other side of that gap. And after that entire story, if some part of you is already loading the oldest objection in the world, which is my industry is different, Dakota, sit with that for a moment, because Michael's entire industry was certain that his potential would be different too. It was going to be saturated. It was going to be spoken for. It was going to be impossible to achieve. They were all staring at the same wall, and not one of them saw the door standing right beside it. Your regulations are different. Your sales cycle, your price, your buyer's awareness, yes, those differ. The human underneath them do not. They have a present situation that they want to leave. They have a future that they want to reach, and they will hand you their money to whoever makes crossing that bridge feel certain. That was true 1,000 years ago, and it's going to be true 1,000 years from now. The belief that you are the exception, more than often than not, is precisely the thing that's keeping your business average and from getting to its full potential. Now, before you go, notice what just happened here with this video. I mentioned the offer, the funnel, the ads, the follow-up. I named the parts more than once, and yet not for a single second did I sell you on any of them. I never asked you to want a funnel. I never told you why ours is better than everyone else in the space. And every time I named a piece of the machine, I used it only to point past itself at the distance, at the place that you actually wanted to go. That is the discipline almost no one has. To hold the bridge up in plain sight, name it out loud, and still never let you fall in love with anything but the other side. Everything you just felt, I did to you on purpose in real time. The exact thing that I told you to do, that is the method. For some of you, it already worked. For the rest of you, it exposed the resistance. You are now still trying to judge the bridge instead of admitting you want what is on the other side of it. So I won't insult you by reading off a menu. Let me give you the only thing that has ever changed hands between two people. The place on the other side. Picture a business that you actually want. Your offer is no longer one option among many. It's not compared. It's not price shopped against 3 cheaper names by someone who never understood what you do. It has become the only obvious choice in your market, a thing that the market believes it needs the way that it needs air, the way it needs to be left behind. Buyers stop asking what it costs and start asking how soon can they begin. You stop chasing, they arrive already sold, and the quiet fear that one day at 3 a.m., a suspicion that the whole business might not hold, it goes silent because now it does hold. Now it compounds. You are no longer the founder, hoping that the market will choose him. You are the one the market cannot afford to ignore. That is the destination. That is the only thing we have ever sold. For 10 years, we have taken offers that the market forgets the moment that it looks away. Ordinary, commoditized, interchangeable, and rebuilt them into something that the market is engineered to need. They're not options, they're necessities, not products people weigh, identities that they can't picture themselves without. We did it for ourselves, we have done it for hundreds of founders, and we can do it for you. But nothing moves until you do.